BlaqueWitchYaya mama. BlaqueWitchYaya mama. BlaqueWitchYaya mama.
Hello you all, I'm BlaqueWitchYaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Today we are back with another Orisha story. Today we are doing the Orisha Aganju. Now let's stop right here. Okay, hold on. Y'all know I have to do 30,000 disclaimers before I start these Orisha stories. So starting with number one, I say Aganju because I'm going based off the spelling. Aganju. Some people pronounce it Agayú, but me, Yaya, being a Black Geechee American, I'm going to say Aganju, okay? So if you have a problem with it, argue with your mama, okay? But this may not be the story that your grandmama told you, that your baba told you, that your elder told you, that your titi, that your dada told you, but this is one of many stories of Aganju. So if you have not heard of this one, let me know the one you are familiar with down below. Share with us so we could get a greater understanding of the Orisha Aganju. And while we talk about Aganju, I am making my crystal dry rub, which is an all-in-one crystal cleanser to keep your crystals cleansed and charged when they are not in use. If you just take your crystal necklace off that you got from BlaqueWitchYaya.com, you can sit it down in the crystal dry rub to keep that charged. If you know a full moon coming, set them out in a nice bowl, sprinkle some of the dry rub up there. If you came against some negative energy, you like, I don't know what you did to this crystal. Sprinkle some dry rub on it to get it all fresh and renewed. And you can get it at BlaqueWitchYaya.com. So Aganju is one of the Orisha that doesn't get really spoken about much, but I bet you if I show you this picture, it probably looks familiar to you if you've been diving deep into the spirituality. Naturally, because he's depicted as very eye-catching, and that's actually one of his characteristics. He has a very dominant presence. I don't know if y'all ever encountered some of those people, they just have a big presence, like just real big. They may not be big, but they just have a real big presence. Where as soon as they walk in, you're like, okay, let me sit up straight. Sometimes, you know, those teachers that as soon as they walk in, like the aura just shifts and it's like, all right, everybody be quiet, pull out your books. Everybody start taking notes. Miss Johnson, I got a question. Everybody just be on their best behavior. Just a very dominant presence. So connecting his dominant presence, he is the Orisha over the volcano, the mountains, the core of the earth. So when you think of the earth, not like, oh, the flowers, the wind, the clouds, like the earth, the core of the earth, volcanoes, mountains, I'm a big man. Aganju is often depicted as a strong, robust figure symbolizing strength and stability. So Aganju is associated with fiery energies connecting to the eruptions of a volcano and the transformative power of nature. One of the core functions of the earth, of course, is fertility. So it's said that Aganju is also associated with the agriculture fertility as well. And I have a story that's going to help connect that. Hey y'all, it's Editing Yaya here. I realized in this video I skipped a whole page of notes, so I just want to catch y'all up really quick. So when I mentioned Aganju being connected to agriculture and fertility, this is not to be confused with the Orisha Oko or Oku, who is over agriculture, fertility, the harvest, and all that stuff. We haven't covered him yet, but we soon will. But this is just connecting to the fact that Aganju is a protective Orisha. He's protective over the lands and the people, which is going to be connected to agriculture and fertility. So he's protective over that in this story that you'll hear. And there's also another story where he controlled a fire that was happening to prevent the harvest from being damaged. So similarities like that. Also, when it comes to Aganju's appearance, I forgot to mention in this video that he is depicted as wearing a crown of fire. He wears colorful garments. Some say it's connected to the flow of lava to symbolize flow and different forms and colors of lava that comes from a volcano. And there is also a story that is connected to Oya with his garment as well, where they had to switch garments really quick to protect him because people were after him. Totally different story, but he wears a colorful garment. Like I said before, he's protective over the land and agriculture. So as an Orisha, Aganju is very powerful and can have an impact on human affairs. Aganju is a protective deity, so many times when people call upon him, they're usually asking for stability, strength, overcoming obstacles. So let's get into the first story. Very simple, but we have a few. So long ago in the ancient lands of the Yoruba people, there was one particular village that was going through it. I mean, they used to have these flourishing crops, everything growing beautiful, nice garden. All of a sudden they went through a drought and they have nada, zip, nothing. So of course they're getting frustrated, they're getting hangry. So they kept praying, kept having patience, seeking the guidance of the Orisha. One day, Aganju heard their prayers and descended down upon them. So just making a connection to this story, imagine you're in a crazy situation, people trying you, you feel like you're back against the wall. Who is the person that you're going to call? And you know when they show up, things gonna get right. For me, it's my dad. When I call my dad and he show up here, oh, y'all better get it together and have y'all excuses ready. So think about that type of person. You know, as soon as they come, all the problems gonna be solved. People gonna act right. It may be your big sister, maybe your brother, maybe your best friend who really don't care. Like, think about that person. Like, oh, when they come up here, it's on. So that's how they felt with the Aganju. Like, oh, Aganju here? Oh, we good. So Aganju took a look around the village to see exactly what was going on. And once he got a good understanding of the situation that they were in, he took a solid stance. He called upon the spirits of the earth and he commanded a dormant volcano to erupt. Now you may be thinking, Aganju, we said we in a drought. The last thing we need is a volcano to erupt. But Aganju had some plans for it. So as the lava began to flow through the side of the mountain, it wasn't just free flowing. Aganju was guiding the lava to ensure that it touched every part of the field in the village. And as the lava was flowing through, it was basically providing nutrients for the soil. So as the lava began to get cold and solidify, it was basically a new fresh layer of that nice seasoned volcanic soil. So the people in the village were so excited. They were so appreciative of Aganju because he just showed up, saw what was going on, and he got it right. And it's shared that the moral of this story, that in the face of adversity, you think things are going wrong, you think things are just down the drain, it's always a chance for renewal. With this drought going on, if someone were to look at it, they'll be like, you just need to tear all this up and try again next year. But even in that situation, it was an opportunity for renewal, which was provided thanks to Aganju. So it's shared that in situations where everything is going wrong, you on your last straw, if you were to get one more bill, if one more person were to try you, everything would just go left. But then all of a sudden, a luck of a draw, things shift. Many people say that is similar to the impact that Aganju has. Now, after hearing just a little bit about Aganju, you may be thinking of another Orisha that he's reminding you of. I'll give y'all a minute down below to guess, okay? If y'all been showing up to y'all Zoom, y'all will know who this is. If you said Shango, you are correct. Now, depending on your exact practice, the exact translation, the house you in, numbers to dial, things to make you smile, all of that stuff is going to depend on the relationship that is told to you that Shango and Aganju have. In some translations, they are brothers. In some translations, they are friends. In some translations, they are twin brothers. In some translations, they are enemies. But in the translation that we are going to talk about today, they are father and son. Aganju being the father, Shango being the son. So it just depends on what translation you hear. Also, in some translations, they say that Shango is the son of Oshun and Aganju. But then in other translations, Oshun is one of 3 wives of Shango. So it just depends on the stories. So just to align with all the other stories I've been telling y'all, we are going to say that Aganju and Shango are father and son. So with the Aganju being the Orisha of volcanoes, the core of the earth, and then Shango being the Orisha of thunder, fire, power, lightning, and all that good stuff, that dynamic together represented strong authority, strong power, strong will, strong tenacity. So growing up under this type of power, as Shango got older, he wanted to find his independence. He wanted to live his own legacy. Aganju was killing the thing. People know him. Also with the Aganju, similar to Shango, Aganju know when he show up, things about to get handled. So he's like, if you don't believe in it, it really doesn't matter because you're about to see it. He wanted to discover who he was. I'm just not Aganju's son. I'm Shango. Hear me roar. He was really yearning to showcase his abilities and create his own legacy. So one day he was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm about to go embark on this journey. So along this journey, Shango came across a land, but not just any land. This was a land where the fiercest warriors lived. So Shango being Shango, he was like, bet. And he walked in and he challenged their fiercest warrior. He was like, listen, me and you right here, right now. And of course, the warrior did not back down. So the battle began. So they're battling. They're getting it on. Boom, boom, boom. But then Shango's thunderous strikes began to shake the heavens and the earth. And during this battle, it left a big old mess. And of course, Aganju in this meantime is like, man, I hope he okay. I got a feeling that something off. You know, with parents, I'm not one, but I assume because my parents do the same thing. You could just tell when something's off with your kid. They're not near you, but you could just be like, she probably got in trouble in school, or he probably out there skipping school. He just got a feeling that Shango was up to no good. So he followed where he was to see what Shango was up to. And of course, this is what Shango was looking for. So he saw his father and he's like, well, father, look at what I did. Yep, this is all me. I challenged their fiercest warrior. He could not beat me. I did my little 1-2 and boom. And Aganju, again, is observing what's going on. He's very strategic. And he's like, okay, I see what you did. He's acknowledging his power. He see that. He kind of like, okay, you kind of did the damn thing. So we can describe Aganju as a gentle giant. So he approached Shango. He's like, listen, I see what you've done. I see your power, but we must recognize the balance between wisdom, power, and responsibility. He even shared a few stories of his own where he was releasing unchecked power. He let them know with great power come great responsibility. You can't just be doing this all willy-nilly. You don't know who you're hurting in the process or the damages that can be done afterwards. With this power, you have to have even more power to be able to control it. So Shango, not being too hot-headed in the moment, took his father's advice and realized with his talents, his gifts, and abilities, must come balance as well because his power can overtake him in the end. But Aganju didn't stop there. He recognizes that his son wants to have his own legacy. So he was like, let's practice so you could get control of your powers. So you have Aganju, who represents strength and stability, and then you have Shango, thunderous and fiery power, bringing it together so he could really harness in on his power, learn about it, know when to apply it, know when to hold back, knowing how to analyze a situation, because we know hothead Shango will just come in roaring and being like, oh, you know what, I ain't even have to do all that. And just bringing this back to everyday situations, I feel like it's correlated to emotional intelligence as well. I don't know if it's just me, but have you ever been in a situation where you just overreact and afterwards when you reflect on what happened, you be like, I ain't even have to do all that. Now, I ain't have to say that was me. Basically teaching him how to take a deep breath, step back, strategize as we saw Aganju do in the first story. He just did it come in the land of the drought and be like, okay, so boom, boom, boom. He took a look around, seeing what he needed, noticed the volcano there, knowing he could provide nutrients to the soil, basically being able to step back, not being so hasty and impulsive, really analyzing what's going on so you could have the best outcome where later you be like, I should have took my time. I shouldn't have done that. Over time, Shango's understanding of his power, how to use them, deepened. So once before where his thunders would be sporadic, it became not so much just obnoxious and show-offy, but represented power and very strategic, the right timing, the right application, how much force, how much to lean back. He became nice and balanced. So it's shared, and I agree with this as well. The moral of this story is this: being able to take your power, take control of it before it takes control of you, and sometimes to your demise. And also being able to be a student as well. Shango had this mighty power, very powerful for lack of better words, but he didn't know how to control it. He always wanted to use it but didn't know when to apply it. But of course, with him having all this power, he had to calm down, take a step back, and learn from his father. And even his father had to calm down, take a step back before, when he had to learn his lessons of him just releasing his unchecked power. And with him having the control of the core of the earth, volcanoes, I would love to know what happened with him. But he took those lessons and applied it to Shango. And relating this back to every day, I feel like no matter how much you know, it's always important to take a step back and be a student. Sometimes, especially in spirituality. No tea, no shade. Some people think that they know everything. Oh, listen to me. I know it all. I've been through this. I've been through that. And you know, just because you had a rough life don't make you the spiritual guru, okay? Aganju is known for his fiery temperament, but passionate nature. He represents raw power and also the energy of volcanic eruption, symbolizing destruction and regeneration at the same time. Many people call upon Aganju when they are facing major life challenges, obstacles, and they are in need of strength and stability. Aganju most known colors are red and brown, red representing fiery energy, brown representing the land and the earth. Many people describe the children of Aganju as very, I'm not saying this as a physical attribute, but this is what people say. This ain't what I say, this is what people say. Very big. Sometimes they are physically big, like just have a dominant presence. They probably were big children. They just have big energy. You probably will meet them. The next thing you know, they're like a mathematician. They're an artist. They love playing a piano. They'll have these more unique gifts. And it's like, so you just don't play football? Like you actually know calculus off the top of your head? You know how to play Mozart? You know how to paint a Picasso? Like they just have these unique, talented gifts that require a lot of patience and knowledge. Those are how Aganju children are described. Many women who are married to the son of Aganju say that they always have to give this disclaimer when going to new events. Like, Y'all, I promise you my husband nice. He just looks threatening. He's a big old teddy bear. They always have to give these disclaimers like, okay, just don't go by his looks. I promise you he's a gentle giant. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate you. Make sure you share some of your teachings, your lessons, some attributes in the comments down below about Aganju that could further build our understanding. And like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Until next time, you guys, I shade.
Legacies, yeah, yeah, mama. Legacies, yeah, yeah, mama.